very good morning to you, and thank you for deciding to have the breakfast with us this morning. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. On the program today, we'll be looking at two hot topics, as usual. House of Reps advances Tinubu's controversial tax bill will be our first topic of discussion, and we'll also be looking at another hot topic, doctor arrested for treating bandit leader orders. We also are going to have top trending issues, which are also headlines. In the past 24 hours, some headlines that caught our attention. We'll be discussing that here on the show, and then we'll also discuss the headlines that made it to the front pages of our national dailies today, this morning. We're going to be looking at about four major newspapers in Nigeria to see what the headlines are. In the meantime, we'll just take a breather and look at the quote for today, and then return to finish the program. Stay with us. A quote this morning is from Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple Incorporated. And the quote is, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle." The only way to do a great job is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, don't settle. Now that tells you that there are some jobs that not necessarily will be the most paying jobs, but it will be the most paying if you are satisfied doing it. In times of adversity and all, you can survive it because you love what you do. Most people that have found out what they really love to do use other things that they don't love to do to fund what they love to do that may not necessarily be giving them the financial muscle that they need to survive in our world today. So find that thing. If it is also something that gives you money, it feeds you and all other things, then you are lucky, because doing what you love to do makes you give in your best. And if you give in your best, your work will be great. Your work will be pronounced. Everybody would know that you do it with all your heart, or like we say in Nigeria, you do it with your full chest. Like you do not care whatever else, so long as it gives you that satisfaction, it makes you happy. And sometimes as you grow older, you find out that money doesn't solve every problem. You'll just be looking for peace of mind above everything else. And so you settle for what others will be seeing and thinking that you have settled for less. But actually, you've settled for the most, because it gives you satisfaction, it gives you joy. You will even live longer, and you'll be more dedicated doing what you love. It's just like the people who love to play football, and you are good at it as well. You're lucky, because you're not only enjoying yourself, you're also being paid to enjoy yourself. And there are other professions like that. I'm not saying that because the money is there, that's why you have to put your head into that. There was a footballer who was very well paid. He played for some of the top clubs in Europe, and then he decided to resign at his prime, and guess what? He went into priesthood. He said that was what gave him satisfaction. Now, if his priesthood were able to give him the opportunity to still play football and be a priest, then maybe he could have combined that, but knowing that he has something that really gives him satisfaction. But since that is not even possible, so he decided to stay in the priesthood and minister to the people, talk to the souls of the people, rather than the fancies or the fantasies of people. So there are people like that, people who do things because they love doing those things. So if you find out what you love, please hold on to it and continue to do it. And you could also try to make that thing that you love be the thing that also sustains you. And if you can do that, it's a double winner for you. But if you cannot do that, maybe you like writing and people don't buy the kind of books that you buy, well, you work somewhere else, but knowing that When you get that money there, you're going to publish a book, you're going to buy the tools that you need to write the books and all that. I'm just giving you an instance, but there are things that in your life, everybody has something that they really love to do, something good that they really love to do. The world might not see it as something that you should love, but it is you that was built the way you were built, and giving the emotions that you were given, and having the spirit that God gave to you, and you chose to love a particular thing. Do it with your full chest. It brings you a lot of satisfaction, and that is what at the end of the day you really need. Love what you do, be passionate about what you do. Love what you love, do what you love, and be passionate about what you love doing. And if you can translate that to money and other benefits, fine. But if you cannot, do not leave it just because you want to be able to provide for yourself and do other things. Do the things that give you the financial muscle, like I said earlier on, but hold on to what gives you satisfaction. You can use that. The satisfaction is the greatest salary that you can ever pay yourself. Okay, that's that about the quote. We'll go to the top trending issues right now, and we'll try to be as snappy as possible. Nationwide blackout as Nigerian power grid collapses again. That is what the first top trending issue is. The Nigerian national grid collapsed again on Wednesday, February 12, 2025, plunging many parts of the country into darkness. Reports indicate that the grid lost power generation shortly after 11 a.m., with generation levels dropping from 4,064 megawatts at 11 a.m. to a complete outage of 0 megawatts by 1 p.m. Sources from power generation companies confirmed the general disturbance caused by a trip-off leading to the shutdown of most power plants. This marks the first grid collapse of 2025 after a similar incident in January. Efforts to reach Ndidimba, spokesperson for the Transmission Company of Nigeria, for comments were unsuccessful. The Abuja Electricity Distribution Company later confirmed the incident on its official social media platform. Nigeria has faced persistent grid issues, with the system collapsing over 100 times in the past decade, including 12 occurrences in 2024. That means there was an average of 1 collapse per month. The latest collapse highlights ongoing challenges within Nigeria's power sector, leaving millions without electricity and raising concerns about resilience of the national grid. As the nation grapples with this crisis, calls for systemic reforms and better infrastructure investments continue to grow. We've heard talk about the reform in the electricity sector, and that we need billions and billions. Was it $16 billion to reform that place, or to put everything in place and make sure that we have 24-hour power supply? But I don't know if the Nigerian people or the stakeholders calculate the amount of losses that we incur as individuals if power goes out without any warning. If our infrastructure is not strong enough, it's not good enough, maybe as a layman, let me just say, maybe there are things that can be put in place to indicate that there's a possible collapse that is going to happen. We're not saying it should never collapse. If it must collapse, let us be on the know, to know that maybe tomorrow we will have a blackout, maybe next week we'll have a blackout, maybe in the next 2 hours we'll have a blackout. If that kind of information, as it happens in other places, okay, there's going to be a problem, or there is a problem, we might shut down for 2 hours, for 2 days, for 10 days, for even 1 year. Let us know. If there's a way that we can know that these things will happen, then we'll know that, okay, we need a backup plan. If we have a generator, we'll need to go out to get fuel and all that. There was a time last week or 2 weeks ago where it happened here in Lagos. Some parts of Lagos did not have electricity for days, and they were a little bit used to steady power supply because, of course, they are on the Band A network. You know, that segregation has come to Nigeria now to stay. So they were on the Band A, and they were used to, you know, fairly steady power supply. So when that went off, when power went off, and they were like, okay, it might come back on next hour or next day or something, and it didn't come back for days, the kind of losses For individuals, I'm not even talking about businesses. Lagos is a very, very busy place. So when you have one day to yourself, what you want to do is you want to, if you cook for yourself or for your family, what you want to do is you want to cook everything that you will need for that week and then store those things in the refrigerator, knowing that they won't go bad. Anytime you need it, you just go remove them and then you're good to go. But when this light went off, in fact, I have some of my colleagues that were affected as well. You have a fridge full or a freezer full of food that you have spent a lot of money, which is hard to come by these days, to cook. And then all of those things just go bad. You have vegetables in your freezer, they go bad. You have fruits in your freezer, they go bad. And some of these people, when they leave home maybe for a day or two, knowing that to be going to the office to and fro every day is very, very expensive. So you say, okay, let me decide. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep in the office for 2 days, and then I'll go back home, stay another 2 days, work remotely or something, and then come back to work. And then you just go and find out that the entire house is stinking because everything in your refrigerator has gone bad. Then that is for the individuals. Imagine the businesses that did not expect it. Some of these people are so used to the steady supply that even though they are running a cold room, they do not even think about their generator anymore. When last did they service their generators, they are so sure that there will be power all the time. And then you take power off, it doesn't come 1 day after, 2 days after, 3 days after, and then everything in the cold room goes bad. Imagine the kind of millions that will be lost. So I don't know if these small things are factored into whenever they're taking decisions about energy in this country. I don't know whether the small problems and the big problems are also considered when they're thinking about power. But bottom line is we need steady power supply, and not just for band A, band B and all that. We need steady power supply for every Nigerian. And I thought that's why we had meters, so that if you cannot afford it, you don't use it. If you can afford it, then you use it. So it doesn't matter what caliber of person you are, what grade you are, because now it's as if Nigerians are in grade. It doesn't matter what grade you are. If you can afford it, you use it. If you cannot afford it, then you light your lanterns and everything else that can give you electricity in your house, that can give you light in your house. As simple as that. But now everybody's been put in his place, so to speak, and we still don't have enough electricity. For a country of 200 million plus, we cannot generate even up to 10,000 megawatts of electricity in this country. It's a shame. It's a big shame. Last year, on the average, 1 collapse per month is unheard of. But something should be done about it, and something really truly should be done about it. Not all the monies that have been said on the media and everywhere else, this is what we need. And there are simple solutions that can serve as the lowest hanging fruits. Pluck those, let's enjoy them, and then you continue to do the rehabilitation that we need in the power sector. Okay, NANS condemns students' assault on UNZIK lecturer, calls for investigation. We saw that story on the social media where the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS now, has condemned the reported assault of a lecturer by a student of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, UNZIK, over TikTok recording. In a statement from Ibadan, NANS Senate President Babatunde Akintaye emphasized the importance of discipline, respect for authority, and adherence to institutional rules within academic environments. He stated that such acts of violence are unacceptable and do not align with the values of the Nigerian student community. Akintaye reiterated that while NANS advocates for students' rights and academic freedom, it equally upholds respect for authority and institutional laws. They criticized the students' actions as embarrassing and irresponsible, highlighting that self-expression, including social media use, must be carried out with respect for others. He also reaffirmed NANS' commitment to promoting a conducive learning environment while condemning misconduct in all forms, calling for a thorough and impartial investigation. Akintaye urged UNZIK management to ensure due process in addressing the incident. He stressed that if the student is found guilty, appropriate sanctions should be applied to deter future occurrences. Akintaye further emphasized the need to preserve academic institutions as spaces for mutual respect, learning, and professionalism, asserting that NANS would not support any behavior that tarnishes the academic community's reputation. Well, I saw that video as well, and I've seen the response of the woman and that of the man. I'm calling her a woman, that's not a child there. I saw when the lecturer sought the excuse of the woman, just asked her to get out of the way that he was going to pass. She was doing a personal TikTok video on the corridor of the school, and the lecturer needed to pass that way. Whatever happened after that, I do not know, but I did see that the lecturer told her simply, "Excuse me," and then he passed. And the woman was so shocked that someone had the audacity to tell her to excuse him, especially because he touched her. I was like, can you imagine? Like, this someone who is not worthy just touched me, that I should give way. Like, I have my right to stand here and all that. I'm not trying to judge, but I don't know where we draw the line between this TikToking and everything, in which place we are going to draw the line and say, okay, if you need to do this, this is how you do it. I don't know. Media content creation has become a craze that people do things that are really, really crazy just to get the content that they need to get. That's the school environment. That is a corridor. People need to pass there. You don't have privacy to that place. You don't have a right to be. That's my personal opinion. But I've seen, especially the women that have come for the man, and because the woman said the man wanted to touch her breasts and other sensitive parts, so she was just trying to cover her modesty and all that. It's a story we hear all the time when something happens. He asked me out, and I said no, and he did this and that. Sometimes it's blackmail. The bottom line is, that's a school environment. That was a lecturer, and we hear that he's also a lecturer in the department where the woman is. I don't know how true that is, but if you are a student and in that department and you don't even know your lecturer, I wonder how you've been passing your courses, and you are now in the third year. So bottom line is, respect the academic environment, respect the environment that is a public environment, and know that when you're doing your personal thing, you may be even encroaching on the space of another person. Nobody can just give you space because you are doing TikTok video. That's what I think. So let's try to regulate how the kind of freedom that you have because you're a content creator, the kind of things that you do because you're a content creator. I wonder how many people have died of a heart attack because of the kind of pranks that content creators do. I wonder how many people have gone scot-free because they made it look like a prank when they were actually doing something, committing a crime and all that. So I think it's becoming a matter of concern, and something should be done about it. Let the investigations go on. If all the accusations that the girl leveled against the man were true, and the man wanted to violate the woman, he should also face his own music. But also, the woman is not innocent from the video that we watched. She too, according to what she did, should face her music. For whoever is guilty should face the music according to what they did in that thing. But it is good to respect another person's space, especially when it is a public space that you are using to do your personal things. And Sanwo-Olu cancels remote work for Lagos workers effective April 1. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced the cancellation of work from home policy for civil servants effective March 31. The directive outlined a circular issued on February 11 by the head of service, Bode Agore, and mandates all public servants to resume full Monday to Friday office schedule. Okay, it's a good thing if it was affecting the work of the civil servants. But if it was not affecting the work of the civil servants, what is so wrong about working from home if you can actually do it? Why do we need to always bring people together for things that we can do from remote locations? If they were working from home remotely and the work was not affected, why not let them be? The economic situation is not smiling at anybody now. Nobody gets salary and can still use that salary and say, okay, I'm a well-paid person, no matter how much you're earning. You go to the market, so many people, their salaries don't go home with them as it is. Take-home salary is no longer take-home because it doesn't take you home. You're just working for the government and working for your landlord and working for the market women, and that's the end of it. Nothing to yourself, nothing for yourself. So I'd like the Lagos State government, not just because you want people to be at work. If it was not affecting the work at all, let those who essentially must be at the office be at the office, and let the people who can work remotely work remotely. That's my take. It's not just that, okay, now things have settled, you can come back to work and all that. Was it affecting the work? If it was not, please allow them to continue working remotely. But if it was affecting the work, let them all come back. But think about how much you're paying them, how much after they remove the transportation that they're coming to. And most times when you come to work and the feeding that you feed at work is more than the one you are going to feed at home, because the money you're going to use to buy a plate of food at work will cook you a pot of soup at home in some cases. So think about it, Lagos State, and maybe just reduce the days that they are supposed to stay at home and let some, breather for them. Let them enjoy that sometimes. And the final one, top trending, is that a 13-year-old or so was arrested for the murder, the kidnap and murder of another child somewhere up north. And this worried me so much. I wanted us to talk about it, even if we just talk about it very briefly, that how can a 13-year-old be part of a gang that will kidnap somebody and murder that person? 13-year-old boy arrested over kidnapping and murder of 10-year-old in Plateau State. And short and simple of the matter is that this Almajiri system, not only at Almajiri, the out-of-school children that we're allowing to roam the streets will come back to hunt us. In fact, it is hunting us right now. 13-year-old, whatever it is, he had connection with the kidnappers. Maybe he was tipped a little amount of money, and whatever the case may be. But the fact that he had the relationship with the kidnappers and facilitated that kidnap and then eventual murder of a 10-year-old, it tells you a lot of things. So the government should be deliberate about education policy and employment policy so that people go to school, they get employment in some way, not necessarily white-collar jobs and all that, but they have an opportunity to do business, because these children that are roaming the streets will not have any alternative than to go into crime. At least 90% of them will go into crime, and that is the market where the kidnappers and the bandits go to recruit. That is the market. So something should be done about it. Otherwise, no matter what we think we are doing, it will not have any impact on our economy. We will still have the security problems. And I used to say, if you are a rich man, the only rich man in your community, and you don't want dust to enter your compound, you have to tar the roads of the entire community. Otherwise, tar your compound as you want, do whatever you want to do in your compound as you want. So long as there's still dust outside, it will enter your house, no matter how high your gate is. So you better make sure that everybody else is having equal opportunities. If you have more opportunities, that is fine. But if we have the equal opportunities to go to school and to get employed or to get a business, then we will not be talking about budgeting more money for security when we can solve these problems from the root. That's my take on that. Please take out children from the streets and put them in schools, and things, every other thing, like the scripture says, will be added onto you. That'll be all for top trending issues. We'll pause very briefly, and when we return, we'll be looking at the headlines that made it to the front pages this morning.